Hi everyone, this is Psyche Awakens. I'm coming to you from beautiful Redondo Beach, California. You can hear the beautiful sounds of the natural wildlife around us, the beautiful coastal scene. I just wanted to tell you the story of Cupid and Psyche. Now, you might know who Cupid was. He was a beautiful son of Aphrodite. But Psyche was a beautiful woman that was born, and she was so beautiful that nobody in the world around her could understand her. Everyone was afraid to approach her. She was just too beautiful. And so Psyche thought she was pretty weird. But she was actually so beautiful that the goddess Aphrodite, or also known as Venus, thought she was trying to compete against her, or she was too beautiful to be on this world. So Aphrodite thought, who is this girl trying to compete against me, thinking she's so much better than me? I'm gonna have my son put an arrow in her and curse her to fall in love with some horrible sea monster, so she will never be desired by anybody again. And so she asked her son Cupid to throw an arrow in her so that she would do that. And Cupid went and he filled a couple of arrows, one from the fountain of beauty, one from the fountain of eternal disdain. And he went to go shoot Psyche with one of the arrows. And he shot her with the arrow, and then as soon as he did it, he saw her face. And he thought, what have I done? This is the most beautiful girl in the world. And as he said that, he accidentally shot himself with one of his own arrows. And Psyche woke up kind of confused and went home. And later that day, her parents went to the Oracle of Apollo, and they asked, what is going on? How can we save ourselves from this curse? And the Oracle of Apollo said, your daughter has been cursed to fall in love with the ugliest, most horrible man in the world. And you should just throw her off the nearest cliff. And so Psyche's parents held a funeral procession. And they carried Psyche down the funeral procession, ready to throw her off of the earth. And they did throw her off of the earth. But as soon as they did, a wind picked Psyche up and carried her to a beautiful palace. And in that palace, there were thousands of servants ready to wait on her every whim and desire, ready to bring her every food she wanted, ready to change her bed. ready to clean her room, ready to give her anything she wanted. And so Psyche was happy. But Psyche got a little bit bored. And Psyche said, I miss my family. I want to see my family again. And so upon her wish, a wind sent her right back to her home, to her family, and her sisters were there. And they said, Oh, Psyche, where have you been? We've missed you. We want to see your husband. He must be a horrible man. Some horrible monster that's taking you captive. And so Psyche said, no, he's a beautiful man that treats me well. But his sister said, no, he must be some horrible monster demon that's keeping you against your will. And so the next day, Psyche said to her sisters to go on the cliff, and the winds carried the sisters to her palace, and the sisters were treated just the same wonderful way that Psyche was, and fed wonderful wines and gave wonderful food and given a bed beautifully made. And so the next day, Psyche's sisters were ridden by the wind back with her, and they said, Psyche, there must be some horrible demon that is keeping you captive in this palace. You must see who he is and reveal him and shame him in front of the world. So her sisters flew back with the winds, and Psyche was at the palace. She thought, my sisters must be right. I must have a look at this demon. So Psyche lit a lamp, and when her husband was sleeping, she came over with the lamp and looked at him. And instead of seeing a horrible monster snake, Bigfoot, she saw the most beautiful man she had ever seen. And as she gasped, she spilled some drops from the lamp onto his shoulder, and he woke up. And he said, Psyche, what have you done? And he flew away. And all of a sudden, Psyche found herself flown away back to her original home with her sisters and her dad. And she said, what have I done? And Psyche knew that she had actually fallen in love with a beautiful god. And she cried. She said, how can I redeem myself? So she first went to the temple of the goddess. And she asked the goddess, how can I redeem myself? And the goddess said, well, you did not offend me. You offended a different goddess. So you must go to that different goddess and amend your sins there. And so Psyche went, and on her way she met the god Pan. And she asked Pan, what did I do? And how can I make up for my sins? And Pan says, well, you came to the goddess of the earth, You should have went to the goddess of love, who's actually mad at you. And ask her what you can do to forgive your sins. And so Psyche went to the goddess of love, who was actually Cupid's mother. And she asked, what can I do to redeem myself? And the goddess Venus, who's Aphrodite, who's much different than the goddess of earth or the goddess of anybody else, said, oh, I have a few tasks for you to do if you want to redeem yourself. First, look at that bag of 1 million grains of sand. I want you to take every grain of sand and sort the white grains from the black grains. And then after you do that, I have a few different tasks for you. And so Psyche went and looked at the billion grains of sand and didn't know what to do. But all of a sudden, some ants came to her. And they said, you know what? You've helped us before, and we like you. So we're going to sort the grains of sand for you. And you're going to complete this task. And so over the night, all the ants sorted the white grains of sand from the black grains of sand. And the next night, she had even a harder task. And there were turtles and rabbits involved. But the turtles and rabbits joined together and they helped solve her task too. So Aphrodite was very frustrated. And so for the third night, she said, well, you have to go all the way down to hell. And you have to ask the queen of hell for some of her beauty. And then maybe I'll let you meet your love. So Psyche didn't know what to do. And a little bird came and told her, Psyche, if you want to pass the test of hell, pretend you're dead, put some coins over your eyes, let Chiron, the canoe master of hell, take you across hell, give Cerberus, the hellhound, a few treats, and pet him and be real nice. And then maybe you'll get through to see Dionysus and Persephone, who are the king and queen of hell. When you see them, ask very politely for Persephone for some of her beauty. For Aphrodite, she'll give you some of it in a box and take it right to Aphrodite. Do not open it, do not look in it. Keep that box closed, Psyche. But Psyche went through hell. She put coins over her eyes. She pet the dog. She got to Persephone. Persephone gave her the box of beauty. But on her way back, she just could not resist opening the box of beauty, saying, if I had just a little bit of this beauty, after all this crap I've been through, maybe I'll just look a little bit more attractive to my love, Cupid, and he'll still love me. And so Psyche opened the box. But when she opened the box of beauty, a great sleep fell upon her. And she went into a dark sleep. And after sleeping a very long time, Cupid flew down to her and he said, oh, Psyche, is this the thanks I get for allowing you all this love? I love you anyway. And Cupid picked her up And he started flying Psyche into the sky where she would become his queen. And Psyche and Cupid fell in love as king and queen, and they had a child named Pleasure. And so this is the story of Cupid and Psyche. And so always remember the story. Even if you're the most beautiful being in the world that everybody else is afraid to be in love with, someday a God of love will know who you are and carry you back to heaven. I love you, everyone. Thank you.